Correct, and I'm a precinct delegate also.
It's even better.
So people do come to me over the marijuana issues because of me being elected into that position. They know, they have come to the conclusion that this bill was something different before today. I did not see some of the changes that have been made, and I don't think a lot of other people have realized some of the things that you have included in there as far as the synthetics. I don't approve of that whatsoever. The children are dying on the streets from the synthetic drugs. When it comes down to the cannabis use, no one has died from that, and as far as 1996, California passed the Compassionate Care Act. And at that moment, it became medicine in the United States. And children were getting into this product even back then. They were getting airlifted to the hospitals. They were being treated in emergency rooms. And all that happened was they came to from their sleep is all they did. And nothing happened to them. They went home. They were well. They felt better after they got out of the hospital than when they went in. Even the children did that consumed us. So you have to kind of look at what's going on in the process here. The Senate is doing something other than the House. The House of Representatives have stood up. They have a concentration bill. They have a dispensary or provisioning center bill that is going through right now. This is opening it up for business in Michigan. This bill eliminates a lot of the businesses in Michigan from producing or from what I thought it was. I thought, after talking with Senator Coswell, that there would be 6 locations in Michigan. This is what his assumptions were also. And I was not on board with that whatsoever. If you only have one strain, as everyone else has said, you don't know what this is actually going to do to you. Prairie Plant Systems in Canada has not fared very well with their patients. The black market is thriving in Canada. We don't want that here. We want this to be regulated, and just like alcohol eventually, and taxed, as the gentleman said. But as it stands right now, you can't tax a medicine. And that's exactly what we have here is a medicine. So to get to the taxation part, we have to tax it right like alcohol. So to get to that point, we have to decriminalize it like alcohol. That isn't what this bill is doing. This bill is opening up business for a foreign country to come in. I don't approve of that in Michigan. Right now, we have an unemployment rate that is outstanding. We don't have people working in Jackson. We don't have it in Monroe County. We don't have it in Hillsdale. These are some of the locations that could have provisioning centers in them if the municipalities want them. And that's what the House bill is going to be doing. I don't know what else is in the system right now for the Senate as far as trying to get provisioning centers other than this bill right here. This bill does not provide enough protection for the patients and the safe access. Under my understanding is this medicine will be mailed to you from one of the facilities that grows it for the people. What happened with the registry program, from my understanding, the Department of Community Health was who I voted in 2008 to take care of this. And since then, the Walsh bills have taken that away and gave it to licensing and regulatory affairs. In the same amount of time, in this 3-year period that the Walsh bills went through, this company has came in and worked with the Department of Health to take over the program that they were originally supposed to be taking care of in the first place.
Let me just clarify that real quickly. The Department of Community Health and LARA are 2 appointed organizations. The leader of each of those are appointed, so they weren't involved in an election. Governor Snyder made appointments as to who was going to head those 2, just for clarification, and then made some changes as to who handles what things. I mean, that's not terribly uncommon when administrations change. I just wanted to make that clear, that those people weren't elected, they were appointed.
Correct, but in the law in 2008, it stated that the Department of Health will maintain the registry program away from the lien program. We did not want law enforcement. I understood the law. I did not see any gray areas in this law that so many people say there's a gray area. If you believe there's a gray area, please ask me about that area. I, just as a consumer, I was not in any of these programs. I was a business owner, and I came out of the closet for this in 2008 because I knew of the exceptional medicine that this is. I knew in 2000 or in 1998 they were already working on the cancer projects in California. So I was watching everything and taking notes of what was happening throughout the United States. As soon as Michigan came on, I came out of the closet. I lost business over it, but this is something that has to be done. And at that time, this law said that it was the Department of Health that was going to be taking care of the program.
Okay.
So, and I would prefer if the Department of Health took this back over and you take it away from law enforcement because of the situations that are happening now to the people behind me. People are being raided every day because of the registry program. If you are followed, they can tell if you're a registered patient now. And I don't believe that law enforcement should have a right to this.
In one chamber or the other, there are certain rules in place as to the timing and how fast things can go. Usually if a bill is introduced, it has some debate. Sometimes there's a substitute that comes along the same day, 3 days later, a year later, doesn't matter. Sometimes those things happen. There are laws in place that require a certain time period, 18 hours before a committee is announced, I believe. Is that right? 18 hours. In here we did 3 or 4 days, I don't know, something like that. The point is that once it leaves this committee, it needs to go to the committee of the whole, which is basically the entirety of the Senate, except it has to pass through that debate and then go to a full Senate vote on what they call third reading of bills, usually something like that. Then it goes over and there's a 5-day layover requirement. So before something can be taken off from the other chamber that's sent from the first chamber, there's 5 days that the public has a chance to view this. Then it can or may not be taken up in the committee that it's assigned to over in the other chamber. If there are any changes in the committee, by substitute, by amendment, on the floor, by substitute or amendment, it has to come back to the Senate subsequent to that and be debated after the public has knowledge of it again. So just so you know, there's not anything that's going to be signed into law today. And this isn't the end of the debate, this is the beginning of the debate. There's not mutual exclusivity between the House and the Senate either. If we pass a bill that addresses one portion of the law and the House passes another one, they can be done in tandem. Until you start the process, you can't bring the public out to give us input and feedback about what we're doing. So don't make any conclusions, please, that there's already some kind of foregone conclusion about what we're going to do or how we're going to do it. The reason we have this meeting and the reason that the Senate leader is holding this committee hearing is because it's important and wanted to give you a chance to give us feedback. So give us a chance to digest the feedback before you draw conclusions about what we plan to do, okay?